Alright guys, so right now I'm currently still working on the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review, but I wanted to, in the meantime, offer my impressions of the game. We're kind of up around-ish, we're a little bit past the Junon Parade segment of the game, but here's what I thought about the game though, so far, with everything that I've seen, because I've seen a lot of the first area of the game, of the world, and I've seen a lot of characters so far, I've seen a lot of story events, right, a lot of dialogue, and this is roughly all my thoughts. First and foremost, let's just say this, I hate the constant and incessant need to censor Tifa, alright? The amount of undershirts that we have to give this chick with fat breasts, alright? What the frick are we doing? Let her breasts just be there, okay, bro? Just let them be on screen. We have all these scenes where it's clear that Tifa leans over in such a way to show off her ample cleavage, and we don't get to see that in this game anymore because they chose to give her loads and loads of undershirts. It's annoying. Stop. I want to see this chick's boobs, okay? Simple as that. Alright, with that aside, the whole thing about Tifa, right? Here's the next thing. The dialogue in the game, I originally found myself criticizing the dialogue in the flashback part of the game, and it does feel a little bit off. It feels a little bit awkward compared to where we left off in the first game, in Remake, okay? Where we left off, I don't really feel like the characters are exactly who they are. They don't really seem to be speaking off the basis of where they came from in the previous game. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm a little bit confused. Whatever's going on though, the characters were roughly okay. They're roughly fine. It just felt a little bit, I don't want to say hammed up, but it felt like they weren't being completely authentic, I guess, to who the character was. They're being very flat and one note in a weird sense. So that's kind of what I was having to criticize, but for the large part, they were okay, and they still had some bit of personality. It was just, there were weird flavorings of lacking personality at times. Then when we look at the combat looks great. From what I can tell, the combat, and by the way, this is more or less my impressions, kind of story review, not so much on gameplay, but from everything that I've seen, the gameplay looks a lot more fluid. The air combos and combat, as far as I can tell, it's a lot more fluid as well. It seems like they made it less frustrating to play, both on ground and in the air. So that's really good. Improvements that they've made. One other thing to mention is that Shiva still has a monstrous rack, so I love that. She has a nice set of breasts. Cool. And then I would have to say I really like the characters, right? I have this huge issue right now where every game we look at is nihilism, nihilism, nihilism. All the stories are nihilistic. I don't know what the frick happened with these people, but everyone is obsessed with nihilism. And of course we get really, largely, or only liberal writers. So of course all of the writing is very nihilistic, right? Because liberals, they ditched out God, and all they know and all they love is materialism. So all we get is crappy materialism. Well, what I do like about this game is that it's just an authentic, heroic journey with a main character and the women that surround him, and the women are supporting the male lead. They're not girl bosses, they're not leading the charge. They simply support the male character, the male lead, and that's something that I've been strongly yearning for up until this point. Is like, why do we not have truly effeminate female characters? And within Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake, the women are all effeminate, and they're not in contempt of men. They simply support men, and they exist in a world where they understand that they must respect men. That is one of the primary ways that they'll get by without going through all the conflict of butting up against men. So I really like that about the characters. I love that about the women. The women have these quirky, silly, effeminate behaviors and personalities. They're not these raging girl bosses, not constantly trying to be in contempt of men, hate on men, whatever, like we get with feminist anything today, right? Real women within stories, doesn't matter. They are all in contempt of men, and they all want to disrespect men. So we have finally a game, a story that has effeminate women. Now, there is, of course, though, the other element is that this game is ESG, and this game does have ESG characters, has ESG moments, has wokeness and egalitarian bullcrap. There's moments where it's like, right, like at the Junon parade, Cloud can't make up his mind of what he wants to say in a freaking speech. Which in some ways I can kind of get, but still doesn't matter. So then they make Aerith and Tifa step up to speak for him before he gets a second wind from them speaking for him, and then he finally speaks like he's some kind of a leader. The whole scenario and that whole scene was kind of gay, kind of forced, and kind of ham-fisted up about just the relevance of the scene, the relevance of the characters. But in some way, I think they were trying to make a joke with it, so I don't know. But that's what I have to criticize about it. A little bit of ESG in it too, where all throughout the world of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and of course it happened in the previous game, there's this laughable diversity. Black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. We have to force black people into a world where it's clearly full of white people. This is a white world, white people world, okay? Largely seems Anglo-Saxon. Largely seems like these people come from a very specific cultural heritage. And it even gets so silly that you have people who look like white people and they have the skin of black people or brown people. What the frick is going on? These are not black people. We know they're not black people, but you're going to force people who are supposed to be white, you're going to make them brown or black. Because ESG, okay? They did this for whatever ESG dollars Square Enix could get their hands on, and they did it in the most laughable manner possible. So I don't know, maybe the developers think of it as a joke. I don't know. Because of the ESG, and like maybe that's their way of getting back at ESG, is making it laughable. I have no idea. But it's stupid. But it doesn't matter. Again, the women, though, largely they behave very effeminate. None of them are masculine. I love it. They're all pretty. They're all cute. They're all attractive in some way, shape, or form, okay? I love it. And especially the fact that just all the women are freaking hot. I mean, Kairi is sexy, Tifa's sexy, Aerith is sexy. Who else? I can't, whatever. There's other chicks, but I mean, they're all attractive. The women are largely attractive. Even some of the NPC women are attractive. So you gotta give it that. There's a mayor of a white town, and for some reason, the mayor of a white town, by the way, is black. Makes no sense. It's just like, I guess people wanted, I guess there was so much racial guilt, like randomly in that city, that everyone, diversity hired the black guy, like Obama, and they were like, I'll vote for the guy because of his skin color. Okay, great. That's where we're gonna go. Whatever. It's freaking stupid. They force diversity everywhere. But I have to say this. I love Cloud's character. I love his stoic demeanor, the way he looks at the world, the no BS kind of personality that he kind of has. I love the fact that he's not constantly emotionally reactive. He's not an emotional male. He's a stoic male, a logical male. Good. We have a certain, like Tales of Arise, we have certain gay males who sit there and they're more emotional and reactive, like a woman, than the women. And the women are more logical and pragmatic and stoic, like a man, than the men. Okay? Makes no sense. It's stupid. But in this game, the gender dynamics are largely fine. They're largely great. I can't really complain about it. Outside of the ESG elements, they put the ESG into all the side characters, all the side story content. They put loads of ESG there. They put some freaking homosexual bullcrap around in other places, whatever. Specifically, there's this like drag show kind of guy that dresses like a freaking woman. He's freaking gay as all get out. What the frick? Whatever though. Okay, he's in the game. Nice. But again, we are all here for the main story, and the main story has lovable characters. And that does not mean, of course, relatable characters, but these are beloved characters. They're great. I love hearing them speak. Again, I love Cloud, love his character, love Tifa. She's super effeminate. Love her character, the way that she thinks, the way she talks, how she's always anxious, like a woman. Okay, cool. I love it. And then you have Aerith, and she's very girly, and she's very ditzy, and she kind of, right? Part of her character is that she forces the ditzy so that no one's onto her. Got it. But still, I love her ditzy behavior. I love her ditzy personality. That's exactly what men love. Are the women like Tifa and Aerith? They're silly. They're feminine, goofy. I love their characters. All the ways that they speak, all the ways that they talk, the things that they say to you, the way that they never demean the male character. They just try to be goofy and silly about the world surrounding the male character towards the male character. Maybe there's like one or two times that maybe they were a little bit demeaning, but it's like that would be a larger like analysis as to whether or not. But as far as I'm concerned, right, the Overton window is that they're not demeaning to Cloud. Maybe there's like one or two times, but really, it just seemed like teasing, right? So, okay, largely, it's fine. Even if we wanted to nitpick the exceptions, really the exceptions were just them teasing. Not really trying to make fun of him. And really, when you think about the dialogue, it's completely fine. Then we've got Barrett, and it seems like they... I'm going to say that they probably... It really feels like to me... For one, Red 13, I'm okay with his character, by the way. He's kind of like a side main character, right? He's not really a big deal, but Barrett's character, it feels like they nullified him a little bit. They tried to... you know, you have these freaking losers who are like, oh my gosh, Barrett's a freaking Mr. T, racist impression, and blah, blah, blah. Listen, he's just a black guy. Maybe he acts like Mr. T. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just a black guy, and I love Barrett's character. Barrett's character's funny. He's awesome to listen to. He's got great personality. He's not this freaking thug life guy who's like, hey, let's go rock up a neighborhood, bro. You know, he's not that freaking kind of loser degenerate. He's not a criminal American. Let's just put it like that. Barrett is not an offensive black guy. He is a very likable black guy, all right? And again, it is so silly that we have to diversity wash the cities and the world of Final Fantasy VII. But as a token character, because it's a world full of white people, so if they didn't do the ESG stuff, I would be much happier. I would put the ESG rating at a 7 out of 10. There's other games that go 8, 9, and 10 out of 10. Those games are freaking annoying. Like, I would say a game like Forspoken was probably it was like a 9, if not a 10 out of 10 on the wokeness scale, right? On the ESG scale. But when I look at, right, I'm okay with Barrett as a token black character, and I'm okay with I love his personality, love the way that he talks, love the jokes that he cracks. I love his presence on screen. Again, he's not offensive. He's not a degenerate. He's a great character, has great moments. Not like this is a huge deal that I need to rage on about, but let's just say this, right? This is just my honest thoughts. And I like his fatherly mentality around his daughter, all right? It's very endearing what it is. Anyways, I love Barrett's entire personality, though. I love the way that he communicates about the world and the things happening. It just seems like they nullified him a little bit. They listened to a little bit of the woke mob who were like, he's a racist interpretation of Mr. T. So then they sat there and they just nullified his personality. Because in the first game, it seemed like he was a lot more heavy-handed with his personality a little bit more confrontational or whatever. I don't even know what the right word, assertive. Let's say he was more assertive. In this game, he's not so assertive anymore. And he just seems a lot more tepid. And it's fine that Barrett has elements of tepidatious personality. It's just the problem is that he's completely lacking assertive elements of his personality from the previous game. So I hate it whenever these freaking developers listen to the weirdos, listen to the freaking losers, the people who are adult children. Just shut up. Barrett's a likable character. He's not a freaking degenerate black guy. Great. I love his character. And again, he's a token character, and I love him for the token character that he is. And it's acceptable too, right? That maybe there's like some range of like a couple black people in the world, right? Not many, but right here and there, you might find some black people. That's fine. It's just the fact that there are so many clear moments where they just keep on forcing black people on screen because they do it for the ESG. They don't do it because it's like, oh, there's like 5 black people in the world of Final Fantasy VII, and these are those people. Oh, look at them. Right, we have this random black farmer, and again, who has to be a side character? It's just, what the frick are you guys doing? Like, the guy literally dresses. He's one of the few characters, actually, who kind of looks like a black guy, but he dresses like a freaking white dude. And again, it's not that he needs to wear thug life freaking clothing. It's just that he dresses like a white dude. He's wearing farmer overalls and all that, and it's like, this is what a white guy wears, you know? Like, honestly, why isn't it just a white guy as a farmer? Why is this guy... I don't get it. Like, he could have been a different character, like, different role that he's fulfilling. And then the other thing is the feminism. Within Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's different elements. There's, like, female commander, and there's a guy that's the commander adjutant to the female commander. And it's like, what the frick is going on? How many peepees did this freaking woman suck to get to her position? And you're telling me Shinra, who are supposed to be these authoritarians, these ruthless authoritarians, you're telling me that they're egalitarian and they're also diversity hiring? Are you kidding me? And are you giving me all this crap out of pure delusion? Okay? I don't get it. but whatever, man. Not whatever, but it's just freaking stupid. It's like, what the frick ever with your freaking politics. But anyways, there's female engineers, there's female this, leader that, leader this. They throw women in random positions of where you would expect men, roles that men would fill into. For some reason, they have to make it where women also do the things men do. Again, the freaking female engineer. They have this freaking feminist BS character named Rhonda, who's, oh man, she's the sheriff and the mayor of her little town. Oh, are you kidding me, bro? Like, and this is what drives me nuts. It's like you look in the town and you're like, why isn't that guy the mayor and the sheriff? For some reason, this is a woman who's the mayor and the sheriff. Are you giving me all this bullcrap for real, bro? It's so stupid. I hated Rhonda's character. She was a masculine little biatch. No one likes her. She's annoying. She's a raging feminist. She's a masculine woman. Nobody likes masculine women. We love effeminate women. Okay? That woman should have been a man. She was literally in a man's role. They did that for ESG. Instead of making that masculine female a man, they made it a woman, a masculine woman. It was so clear that her lines were written for a man and her role was meant for a man. Again, a mayor and a sheriff. Are you freaking kidding me? And this will happen many times within Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is that you'll look around and you'll be like, wait a second, that woman's in charge around here? And then you'll look at a dude and he'll be talking. You're like, why isn't he the leader instead? I mean, this is literally going on in the real world though right now. You have these women who get hired for roles and positions, and by the way, they lean on other men within these industries, these other cuck men who are better at their job than the woman is. And you'll be sitting there and you're like, well, why? And this happens with Sweet Baby Inc., by the way. But like, you're sitting there and you're like, why isn't this incompetent female, why isn't her job replaced by the man that she keeps on outsourcing her talent towards? What's going on here, bro? Don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts. So far, I like the game. I like the characters. There's kind of gay moments with certain male characters like Sephiroth and kind of Roche. It's just, there's like a weird, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of the thing with Japanese developers. Sometimes they just stumble in homosexuality here and there with characters, dialogue, lines, and scenes. Just weird, like, obscure homosexuality. It's just freaking dorky, but you can look past it and just be like, okay, they don't mean it that way, right? It's just Japanese, not really quirkiness. You can't always throw it up to that, but right, it's like they're not looking at it from that lens. They're not looking at it from the homosexual Western lens, but let's just be honest, they have blatantly homosexual stuff in the game too. So just throw that in with the ESG. It's freaking stupid, but for the large part, the characters are fine. I like a lot of the characters. Again, the world is so earnest. The characters are so earnest. The scenarios that predicates who they are and where they're at is earnest. And there's not raging nihilism. Instead, this is an aspirational story. A story that is we're enjoying being a part of and within this world. You're taking in the world. You're loving all the kind of life and energy of the world. Even the older characters, they're not begrudging and stuff, right? They're part of the world. They love the world. They're not just spiteful of life, just like the young people. And that's what we get in stories nowadays, is that everyone is spiteful of life. Everyone is nihilistic. And there's no real spiritualism exactly in the story, but there's kind of a spiritualist behavior or personality to the characters. And that's what I love. Again, the characters are aspirational. Heroism comes from spirituality. The characters are aspirational. I love that. You don't get that in storytelling anymore. You get the absolute antithesis of that. This is something I've been talking about, desperately missing for a long time. So again, we have largely masculine men, overwhelmingly effeminate women. They behave effeminate, they speak effeminate, their facial expressions and animations are effeminate. By the way, before I finish this video out, I will say this. I think they changed Tifa's face a little bit in this game. And what I think I've noticed is that they widened her cheekbones. And what I notice is that it seems like they nullified the red coloration in her eyes, and it looks like they spaced out her eyes, and it looks like they also a little bit shrinked her eyes. to the point that they've kind of given her like a special needs kind of looking face, especially outside of the main cutscenes. In the main cutscenes, she still roughly looks like herself, but for some reason, bro, outside of the main cutscenes, she looks a little bit special ed. I don't know what the frick is going on, but they did things to make her face look a little bit weirder. And I don't know if I'm gaslighting myself too much on it, but I've looked at this game, I was referencing her face in this game, Rebirth, and Remake. And in Remake, her face is freaking smoking hot. It's sleek, it's slender, it's thin, it's all the right proportions and everything. She's hot, she's freaking sexy. In this game, it looks like they widened her face and again, widened her eyes apart. I don't know what the frick they were thinking. It clearly looks like to me they kind of went out of their way. If not to uglify her, they went out of their way to alter her. And also, I do have to say this, and it's a little bit unbelievable that I'm saying it, but I swear to you, they have sagged Tifa's boobs, okay? Without a doubt, because when I've been watching the game, something that I've been noticing is that there's something that seems a little bit odd, right? We're talking about the fact that Tifa's face looks different, but also it looks like to me that they tried to sag her boobs in a weird way with her shirt. In some weird way, it looks like they sit out from the left and the right a little bit more. And that in some weird way, they also droop down a little bit more. I don't understand what the frick the developers were thinking. And I don't think I'm making this up. Now, I would love it to see a more detailed comparison. And maybe I'll seek out doing that. I don't really know if I care that much. But from my perspective, it looks like they've changed Tifa. Because when I look at her, from Remake, she looks different. And when I look at her in Rebirth, she looks different. And one of those things, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell right now, also happens to be her boobs. And again, this is why I hate popular media. I made a video about this. They will listen to the weirdos who want to infiltrate your product and destroy your product from inside out. And it looks like to me they've gotten to them in a multitude of ways, specifically with Tifa. They got to them a little bit. And I will mention this too, it does seem like they kind of gay bait a little bit with Tifa and Aerith. They kind of did that a little bit in the previous game, which is like, listen, if Cloud's gonna get a three-way, fine, I'm okay with it. It's just, you know, it's like, it's more boobs on the guy, whatever. It's just, okay, let's not cuck out the freaking main character. So anyways, those are all my thoughts. As of right now, I can't really think of anything else that really matters to be spoken for. I might have just forgotten it on the spot, and I might say it later. But until then, I'll catch you on when I actually finish the full review of the game's story.